When it comes to setting your prices, it can feel like a constant balancing act between rising material costs, competitive pricing, and trying to figure out how much your customers are actually willing to pay. Pricing your products isn't always straightforward. In today's video, I'm going to do a deep dive into everything that you need to know about pricing your products, about understanding your costs, knowing your customer, psychological pricing, when to raise prices, and even how different industries approach their pricing. And by the end, you'll have a clear roadmap on how to set prices that not only sell, but also make your business profitable and sustainable. I'll also be showing you my product pricing calculator designed specifically for product-based businesses to help you work out your true costs and set sustainable profit margins. Hi, I'm Raminder and I'm a financial modeler, and I've got more than 15 years of experience helping clients ranging from startups to side hustle businesses right up to large established companies to help them get clarity and structure through smart strategic spreadsheets. I've also had my own business for more than a decade, so I can completely relate to how you feel when it comes to setting prices. At the end of the day, you're in business to make money, and it doesn't matter how many sales you're making if they're not covering your costs. It's great to celebrate lots of orders, but are they covering your materials, your packaging, your labels, and all your other business costs? Your price sends a powerful signal to your customers. If you price low compared to your competitors, you might be seen as a budget option. And on the other hand, if you have a higher price point, you can position yourself as a premium or luxurious brand. Customers are constantly creating these perceptions about your value based on your price, so how you position yourself in the market really matters. This is about the long-term health of your business. Pricing needs to help you get sales, make profits, and also reinvest back in your business. You need to pay yourself fairly, but also make sure that you can survive if the costs go up. Structured pricing gives you that breathing space to help you grow, to scale, and to keep serving your customers for a long time to come. First step is to understand your costs. So you've got direct costs. These are costs that are directly related to producing the products in your business. So things like raw materials, packaging, labels, and even the time and labor that goes into making your products. And then you have indirect costs. So these are costs that are not directly related to you making the products, but they are necessary for you to run your business. So these are things like website fees, overheads, marketing spend, or workspace rental. And so when you add all of that up, that becomes the bare minimum that you need to cover before you even start thinking about profits. So once you know your numbers, now we need to look at the market and see what other competitors are charging for similar products. You can gather this information by browsing online stores, checking marketplaces like Etsy or Amazon, or even going to your local shops or trade fairs. Take note of their prices, but also take note of how they present themselves in terms of their photography, their packaging, and their descriptions. The important thing to note here is that it's not just a case of copying and pasting their pricing. Their costs, their target audience, and their brand positioning could be completely different from yours. For example, a large retailer may sell at lower margins because they can move thousands of units, whereas you might have a smaller batch production, which may justify a higher price. Think of competitor pricing as a benchmark. It's a useful reference point, but it's not the rulebook. It's about understanding the context and the landscape that you're operating in, but the final decision should always go back to your numbers, to your brand, and to the value that you're delivering. So a simple exercise for you is to list 3 to 5 of your closest competitors. Write down their product name, their price point, where they sell, whether it's on Etsy or a website or a local store, and just make some notes on their quality, packaging, and brand positioning. Then ask yourself, where do I sit in this landscape? Am I the affordable everyday option? Am I the mid-range reliable choice? Or the premium brand that offers higher quality? This exercise will help you set prices that make sense for both your business and your customers. When it comes to actually setting your prices, there are several pricing models that you can use. This is the simplest model. So you simply add up all your costs, so your materials, your packaging, your shipping, your overheads, and then you put a margin on top. It's straightforward and ensures that you don't lose any money, but it doesn't always reflect the true value of your product. You could end up undervaluing your work by not accounting for your uniqueness or your demand. This is where you set your prices based on the perceived value to your customer, not just based on your costs. For example, if you make hand-printed tote bags, your customers might be willing to pay more because they value craftsmanship and durability, even if your costs aren't that much more than a factory-made alternative. This model is often the most sustainable long-term because it rewards quality and brand strength. With this model, you set your prices in line with what your competitors are charging in your space. This could be really good if you're entering a crowded market and want to stay competitive, but the risk is that you end up in a price battle with your margins getting thinner and thinner. If you're always trying to undercut your competitors, this is going to eat into your profits. This is when you group items together and sell them at a slightly reduced price per item, so things like gift sets or 3 items for £25. Bundling can increase your average order value and encourage your customers to buy more, and can also help you to move that slower selling stock. This pricing model is about tapping into buyer psychology, like pricing something at $9.99 instead of £10. It feels cheaper because people focus on the 9 instead of the 10, even though there's only 1 pence difference. Or it could be something like offering a premium version next to a mid-tier product, suddenly making that mid-tier product more of an affordable option. These subtle strategies can make a huge difference to how your customers perceive your products. The reality of the situation is it's not just about picking one pricing model. The best approach is often a mix. For example, you might start with cost plus to make sure that your margins are safe, use competitor pricing to stay grounded in the market, then layer on some value-based pricing to position yourself where you want to be, and then sprinkle some psychological pricing or bundles to encourage more sales. When used intentionally, discounts can be a fantastic tool. They work really well for seasonal promotions or limited time offers, or even clearing old stock that's taking up cash flow and space. But it's important to be cautious about discounts. If you rely on discounts too often, your customers might get trained into never paying full price. Instead of buying something they love when they see it, they might hold off and wait for the next sale. This can make it really hard to sustain healthy margins in the long run. Another thing to be cautious about is competing purely on price. This might work in the short term to lower your prices to match or to beat a competitor, especially in crowded markets. And in the long term, your margins will shrink, your profitability will suffer, and before you know it, you'll be working hard for less reward. Instead of competing on price alone, focus on adding value in a way that matters to your customers. This could mean better packaging to elevate that unboxing experience, or it could be more reliable delivery, or even a handwritten thank you note. These value adds give customers a reason to choose you beyond the numbers and beyond the price tag. At some point, you'll probably have to raise your prices, either because your costs have gone up or you've improved the products in some way. When you do, communicate this clearly with your customers, give enough notice and be transparent. For example, if customers can see that the value has gone up as well as the price, they'll usually understand. It's important to recognise that pricing doesn't work the same in every single industry. To show you what I mean, I've mapped out 4 industries on a simple grid. On one axis, we've got price sensitivity, which goes from low to high. On the other hand, we've got brand perception, going from functional to aspirational. This is where commodities sit, so things like food and fuel and raw materials. Customers are highly sensitive to even the tiniest of price movements, and there's very little brand loyalty. Margins are thin and efficiency is everything. Here we find most retail and consumer goods, so things like clothing, cosmetics, and home decor. Customers care about the price, but things like branding and trends also influence decisions. Seasonal discounts are expected, and promotions can drive huge spikes in sales. This is where luxury brands live, things like high-end watches, designer fashion, premium skincare. Pricing is more about exclusivity and perception rather than costs. Discounts are usually rare because it dilutes the prestige. And finally, we have B2B, which is business to business. Here, pricing is less about the individual price tag and more about the negotiated contracts, the bulk discounts, and the long-term relationships. Businesses care about the value and reliability rather than saving a pound or dollar here and there. Pricing is not something that you set and forget. It's a living part of your business strategy. As your costs change, as your brand grows, and as your customers evolve, your pricing needs to adapt too. And this is where a tool like my product pricing calculator can make a huge difference. This is designed specifically for product-based businesses where you can enter all your costs from overheads, equipment, material, and labor, set inventory reorder threshold, and quickly see what stock needs to be reordered. You can add discounts and taxes and analyze pricing across 3 different scenarios so you know your costs will be covered and you'll make a healthy profit. And you'll be making data-driven pricing decisions to keep your business profitable and sustainable. I would love to know what your approach is when it comes to pricing products. Let me know in the comments any challenges that you're facing or any resources that you're looking for. I'd love to help. And if you're ready to make pricing easier, don't forget to check out the link in the description box below where you can get hold of your own pricing calculator. I release similar content every single week, so I'd love for you to hit like and subscribe so you can join me in future videos where I share more tips on helping you succeed in business. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.